What have you been playing, Sean?
Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Titanfall,
I didn't even
a little
realize that
more
was out.
Pokemon Snap. Yeah, it came out Friday. I already
How
beat it.
I did see that. Took you like eight
Took,
hours.
yeah. People really like it, so I'm not gonna make a video on it because I don't feel like listening to people bitch. But I didn't really like it that much. It's not scary at all. Um I'll avoid spoilers. It's not scary at all. I literally was never scared. And like Resident Evil 7 and Outlast 2, those games scared the shit out of me.
Scariest ones.
Never, I'd say they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never scared. I never felt in danger. And I played it on the standard difficulty. Ammunition was plentiful. The gunplay is good. It looks nice. The game's kind of disjointed, I feel. I feel like some of the concepts were added in after the fact. I didn't really like the last, I wouldn't say 3/4 of the game, but I wouldn't say half of the game. So like whatever's in between that. There was like a segment of the game that lasted a couple hours towards the end of the game where you're in just one type of area. And I didn't like it. I thought it was very generic and boring. And the creatures that you fight in there were kind of dumb. I kind of liked the story. A lot of people didn't like the twist. I kind of liked the twist. I thought it was interesting enough. And I didn't rush through the game or anything. Like I read all the notes. I went just at my own pace. The puzzles are very simplistic. Some of the characters, especially like characters that were heavily promoted in the trailer of the game, definitely don't live up to expectations in terms of what they do in the game and what they like learning about their backstory or really lack thereof. I felt it's a good game. It's if I scored games, I'd give it an 8-ish, but anything above that, like, I don't know. It almost feels like Resident Evil 4 gunplay pacing versus Resident Evil 7's kind of first person setting. I think I just prefer the third person games more. Oh, and on the standard difficulty, I think I died 4 times in the whole game.
Was any of those deaths by Lady Damascus and her fingers?
No,
whatever her name is.
Zero of them were.
You didn't get skewered.
Really?
She's a fucking joke in the game. She really is. And comparative to Resident Evil 7, I died a billion times. I never had ammo in that game. Like I was always scrounging. I was always, struggling. And in this game, it was just a fucking walk in the park. And like, I don't know, maybe they wanted to make it more accessible to people, which is whatever. But yeah, I mean, and there's end game stuff. You unlock the mercenaries stuff. I've been doing that. There's stuff that you can, by doing certain acts in the game, you get like completion points, and then you can spend those completion points on fun stuff like unlimited ammo on certain guns and stuff like that. So I kind of just did like another playthrough. But when you do that, you could skip all the cutscenes and stuff. You really realize how little of a game there is at times in there, because like a part that took me like 2 hours watching the cutscenes took me like 15 minutes to get through when skipping all the cutscenes. So yeah, like I don't know, just after Resident Evil 2 remake, and I guess to an extent Resident Evil 3 remake, even though that game was very short as well, I just prefer the third person Resident Evil games. I think they work better. But
is that like, that's 4? Again, someone who has never played Resident Evil here. Resident Evil 4, that's the third person.
Well, I mean, all of them were until 7.
Okay. What's your favorite one?
I would have to say the original, followed by 2, followed by Code Veronica, followed by... I've grown to appreciate 4 over time, even though 4 is when the whole action focus started to take place. No, I would put Revelations, the original Revelations, slightly before 4, because that's a game that I feel was the perfect blend of the traditional with the more modern action.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe I'll put 4. But yeah, something like that.
Do you think it's a case of the COVID that the game is so short?
No, that has nothing to do with that. This game's been in development ever since RE7 was done, I'm sure.
Okay.
But I did hear that there was some developmental stuff that happened with the game, but supposedly the portion of the game that I had a problem with was always intended. Oh, and one of the bosses, did you ever watch the Goosebumps show?
Yeah, I did.
You remember the Say Cheese and Die episode?
I don't remember that one. I can't say I watched all of them.
The guy looks just like the guy in Say Cheese and Die. I'll send you a picture.
Do you still watch Goosebumps? You seem pretty knowledgeable about the lore here.
It's on Netflix.
Is it? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the whole thing is on Netflix. So where's not the fucking what's his face was the kid in that? The guy who was Ryan Gosling was in that episode.
No,
he was the lead guy.
That's weird.
There, that's the picture of the guy.
Popular at the time? Is this like his?
No, this is like one of his first gigs.
Whoa, that's crazy. Where'd you share it?
Facebook messages. It looks just like the guy looks just like Heisenberg from RE8. Crazy. And it took me out of the game because I'm like, it's fucking the guy from Say Cheese and Die. Just put him back in the camera. You'll be fine.
So creepy.
But yeah, I know I said a lot of negative things about it. I only say a lot of negative things because I feel like a lot of people didn't say a lot of negative things about it. They just, new Resident Evil, 9 out of 10, game of the year contender. But to me, no, I wouldn't. Monster Hunter Rise league's better in my opinion of games that I've played this year so far that came out this year. So yeah, I don't think it's as good as that, but I'm sure it'll sell well.
Have you played it, Greg? I know you're a big Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, I started it I think Saturday or Friday, one of the nights. I don't remember, but I streamed like like the first hour and some change. A lot of the same sentiments like so far. I haven't completed it, so I'm in a little bit of a different situation. I think the game looks pretty damn good. I kind of got initially like Resident Evil 4 vibes just in the layout of the village and its similarity to, how the village is laid out, doors and these narrow walkways as Resident Evil 4. That I did feel that right off the bat. There was enough ammo. I did find, some of the destroyable crates with ammo in them early on, and there was quite a few. I did go into panic mode though, like the first section where you're like running through the house and they're all chasing you. That's one thing though
that's the only time where you're in danger in the game.
Really?
Where you're talking, and then the dude with the big mallet thing comes down, and then they all disperse after that.
Yeah,
that's the only time I was ever in danger in this game. You'll never have that feeling again. I swear to you, you won't. Even playing it back. Even playing it back when doing a subsequent run through, once again, I had unlimited ammo, and still I felt like, this is a little bit tense. And then it was like, okay, now we're done.
Yeah, I didn't like the aiming, the gunplay so far. It feels like, I think Treon said in the chat, it's a little shaky, and like I tried to turn off some of the features like the camera shake, and like I think there's the one thing that it doesn't have is like the field of view slider, and it actually made me pretty nauseous and a little bit dizzy playing, just because I felt like I was like so close. That's something I experienced with the Evil Within, even though it is third person. I just felt like it was just too constrictive. But yeah, I don't like when, especially for Resident Evil, when there's a difference. Like they've gone the route where they make these like ginormous monsters that have mutated because of different strains of the virus, but then these are they tried to like make more human type monsters, and it's different in Resident Evil 7 when you're dealing with a family and they're still more human like than they are monster like. And then this one they just look like orcs from, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings or something.
It's almost like they took remember the Underworld movies?
Yeah.
It's almost like they took that and they were like, all right, we're going to do Resident Evil Underworld because of all the lichens and, you know, werewolves and stuff like that. Like, they sort of explain why those things come to be. It's nothing that's really thrusted in your face. You kind of have to read about it in documents. And then they tried to, like, bring things full circle with other Resident Evil games, which I found to be very interesting. But, and then another thing is, I don't think Ethan is really that interesting of a character. Yeah. I guess the plot twist is kind of interesting, and it's definitely a love it or hate it thing with him. But it's he's just kind of boring as a character. Like, he's just a very generic guy who seems to, you know, get his mind stuck on one thing.
Stupid question.
Yeah, and the whole like reattaching the hand and then the whatever that happens in this one too is just kind of, I don't know, it takes me out of the immersion.
Yeah, stupid question as a non-Resident Evil player. Is it always the same virus, same timeline, or different universes?
It kind of, it usually is interconnected.
Okay,
yeah.
So same universe.
Yeah, but there's offshoot games as well and stuff like that. So it could be very hard to keep up with.
It's not like Zelda, where you're like, anything goes, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, Chris was in 1, and he's been, you know, referenced in or playable in other games, and then, you know, Chris is still in 8. So, you know, he's been there. And then characters die as well, so you know, those characters aren't represented.
James says same universe, multiple viruses.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's never like just like, you know, this is, you know, the story, like how Star Wars is, you know, they're, you know, 1 through 9. There's always like,
it only goes up to 6, Greg.
Oh, shut up. And they take the like pockets of these like little stories and tell these, you know, things that happen, like Resident Evil 3, where it's like still part of the main events that are happening, except you're seeing the point of view from somebody, you know, in Raccoon City that's still trying to escape. But, or, you know, they go to South Africa, or, you know, there's different parts of the world. I don't know. I think that's one thing that they do as well, is like skip around to each story. And I don't know, they've managed to build this massive universe, and I still think they're figuring out the first person aspect to their games now, and which may, you know, come across in the way that Village has for some people. But I don't know. I'll see how I.
Were you a fan of the lady so far? Which I completely mispronounced earlier. It's actually Dimitrescu or something.
Yeah, I haven't met her yet. But,
okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've been playing Resident Evil for a long time as well too, and I'm trying to figure out where this one sits with me still. So, but I do think that the RE engine is like one of the better things, I guess, to come out of the late Resident Evils, because the Resident Evil 3 remake, you know, at Resident Evil 2, and then the Resident Evil 3 remake, and then 7, and then this one. I mean, they're very, the engine does very well in building the atmosphere and the environments to the game. I don't know if it necessarily has an impact on gameplay, because just the style of Resident Evil games is kind of slower. It's not necessarily, you know, action forward, unless it's something like Resident Evil 5 or 6,
right,
which were total changes. But yeah, I'll have to agree with Revelations, because that game was fun as hell on the 3DS, and it looked great.